This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code Socrates at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenro radio playlist. zenroclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Portian Bakery. If you're located in the Portian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Portian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone can podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. All right, so successful Mars landing. The good people at NASA have used their wizardry magic and officially got us on Mars. Yeah.
Well, not the first time. This is the, fifth time?
Yeah, you're right. Used their wizardry magic to do solo guided flight landing on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that was the primary difference. Like last time they used like a bubble wrap kind of thing and like...
Well, no, they did something... This was much more of a precise area. Like it, each launch has been getting the area that they have space for landing on has gotten smaller and smaller. So this is the smallest area they projected to land in.
Right, but it chose on its own, right? Like where to go according to the landscape.
Yeah, it'll do some of its own maneuvering need be based on the
Is it using the same technology as Tesla's, or is it is that totally different?
I'm not sure what it's doing.
Like, I mean, like, is it picture? Or is it like LiDAR? You know, like that. Like, how does it read?
I didn't go this in depth into it.
Okay. I wasn't sure if you were like, oh yeah, they're using the same like SpaceX.
I don't think I didn't come
tech.
across that yet. How it was, if it was scanning, how it was doing that. I'm not too sure.
Okay, cool. Because like in the video that I was watching, it seemed like they were doing like picture scanning because it was like looking at the thing. Like they didn't show it in like a LiDAR sense. It was, but I mean that was also a mock-up of like what it was going to be doing on its internal side. But yeah, human ingenuity. And you were saying that the rover that they sent out, it's going to collect samples, but they need something to be sent there to bring the samples back. So
yeah, this one will be like coring out samples and then plopping them out on wherever it has done it. And there will be another mission in like 2026. That one will pick up those samples and bring it back to Earth.
Okay, so by then you would need a rocket that is able to land and also take off. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of like the SpaceX kind of rockets that they're talking about.
I'm not too sure how that's going to be done.
But you were saying that they've done that already on the moon, right?
Well, yeah, that was done with people, right? Like you have to have something that also picks up those samples.
Right, no, but like how did they launch off of the moon? Oh, they brought like extra fuel.
Yeah, there's different compartments that were in different pieces. Mm-hmm. So this piece, they left the lander part on the moon.
Right,
and the other part comes off and reattaches to the thing that was going around the moon, and it'll fly back.
Oh, okay. So it wasn't like those SpaceX style videos where it's like shooting up off of like it's not like a traditional kind of like you're essentially connecting the like a port from the moon to the space like space, what do you call that? It's like floating around,
orbiting around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's not like that. They didn't use whatever shot off from the moon to go back to Earth.
No.
Okay. But do you think they're going to do the same thing?
I don't know. I don't know what their plan is for 2026. Like,
okay.
I don't think they've revealed that yet. They're probably still trying to figure that,
interesting.
Plan it out. They probably have an idea, but like there's so many things you have to go through to get it all approved, right? Like it's not
right.
You can have an idea, but it has to all work in the math and everything.
But could you imagine if like they actually do, like they use SpaceX to get there? That's their first trial run, because remember how Elon was saying like we need to do an unmanned one first before we can bring people on there. Mm-hmm. So that would actually be a great test of their technology to like send something over there, mm-hmm. gather the samples, and then that same thing that landed also comes back. Yeah. Interesting stuff.
There's a lot of but there's a lot of risks still with all that, right? Because it's still be the first time doing that.
Did you expect it to fail, or you knew it was going to work? Like, what were your thoughts?
No, I didn't expect. You can expect either, but I mean, they've been having continuous success from the past rovers. That it's the likelihood of success was there.
Right.
You never know till you get in there. Right?
Yeah, that's what I was watching. I was like, oh man, is this thing gonna like actually work out or not?
Because all the information coming in is it's like by the time we're getting all the information, it's already landed, or it's not landed.
Yeah, totally. So it's yeah, because there's a 12-minute delay, right?
Yeah.
From the signal of Mars to get back to Earth. So it might have already crashed, but you didn't know.
You don't know until. Yeah.
Who's that person that said it was like, was it Neil deGrasse Tyson? It's colder on Mars or something like that. What was that thing you were saying?
Yeah, he was just kind of like tweeting about like how NASA was able to send something in a rover that is working on some really cold temperatures on Mars, and then here we've got power outages in Texas.
Yeah, which is pretty gnarly. Actually, let's get into that. Like, why is it important to, we've been hearing like the Occupy Mars thing from Elon Musk for some time now. Mm-hmm. What his prediction is that some sort of world war is going to happen, and then we might obliterate ourselves. So we're going to need to create a secondary and third base on, like, first on the moon and then on Mars for redundancy of the human species.
Yeah.
And then we watched it was weird timing though, because like you showed me the 5 major extinctions on planet Earth, and then Joe Rogan was talking about that movie Greenland.
Yeah.
And then we watched it and it was like, oh man, this could actually, if it was going to happen. So basically the premise of the movie is that an extinction level asteroid hits the Earth, and then these people have to like get to safety and survive.
Yeah. More precise, it was a comet.
What was I saying?
To be more precise, it was a comet that was coming in.
Oh yeah, whatever. Yeah. So,
I don't just say, because they said it in the movie.
Yeah, what is the primary difference? I don't understand.
It's an ice ball.
A comet or an asteroid? Yeah. Okay, a comet. What's an asteroid then?
Just rocks.
So what's more deadly then? Wouldn't the
with the I think a comet, because it can heat up so quickly, it becomes like a bomb. Like it can.
Oh really? Yeah.
Did you see those images? It was like an old time in Russia. Like all these trees were flattened down.
Oh, Tunguska.
Yeah. So that was because of it blew up in the air. Like.
Oh yeah.
So that was from a comet. That's what they believe that. If it was an asteroid itself, like it will leave a huge crater and stuff. Right, well, it'll still leave a crater if it hits the ground, but it doesn't like blow up in the middle of it. Yeah.
But do you remember that thing? Like, it wasn't that long ago. 2018, something like that. The asteroids that blew up over Russia, and all the dash cam footage that they had of it, and like it would shatter the windows and stuff. Yeah. So when you think about the 5 major extinctions, you think about the Russia thing. You think about this Greenland movie. Mm-hmm. It's like it could, it does seem logical to want to spread the DNA of our species throughout the universe, so that at least we don't die.
In order to be not extinct as a species, we have to off-world.
Yeah, totally.
That's what he's saying.
And what was interesting too is when Elon was on Joe Rogan, he was saying how as we move through space, we might actually find a bunch of planets of people who, like civilizations that didn't off-world.
Right.
And that, like, that's the inevitable doom of every civilization, that the planet that you're on is going to be destroyed.
Yeah.
So like as we're going through space, you literally might see a bunch of ruins on different planets.
Yeah. Dead civilizations.
Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, what I thought was pretty gnarly too is we're looking at Mars from a standpoint of where we are in time, right? And it looks desolate, right? But Elon was saying, like, if you want to bring water back on Mars, you could just like blow up the poles. There's ice caps at the poles, right? So if it wasn't a nuclear bomb from us, what if it was a asteroid or comet that blows it up, it restarts life, and then like in 2 million years, 2 billion years, you have life on Mars? You know what I mean? Like we're looking at it.
I there's so many other things to that too. Like I think I remembered something about, I don't know if this is right or not, but like with the core as well, if the core is cooled down, or is it
it can create water or what?
No, like it's like the life force of the planet. Like
okay,
you can create that, but like I don't know how long it will last, you know, like, on
totally.
the surface, but I don't know how long overall.
But what I'm thinking about is like if you go back in time to the 5 major extinctions of like Earth, what if you had seen it, like you were passing by and you saw like this wrecked planet that was like just fire? You'd be like, oh, there's no life on here.
Right.
But, you know.
Well, it looks like no life, right?
Yeah, it looks like no life.
I mean, even what they're sending here right now, this rover is specifically looking for microbial life.
Yeah, and evidence
dead
of
microbial life.
Yeah, right, and evidence of like ancient life as well.
Yeah,
like, could there have been, you know, ancient?
Well, they're
life
saying ancient microbial life.
That's okay. So they really don't think that anything's ever, like, no civilizations have ever been on Mars?
I don't think they're saying no. Yeah,
no, I'm asking.
I would assume no. They don't think that there would be like that. They're looking for any like bacteria and stuff like that. Did it exist? That's what they're looking for.
And if they do find bacteria, would that suggest that there could have been
life there,
like ancient life?
I don't know. When they say ancient, they don't necessarily mean like ancient
civilizations.
Yeah,
but if you look at like even now, as we went to Rome, and in Rome you have to dig up the ruins because over time sand just compounds on top of them. You know, so. What if that's the case there? Because nobody's ever dug on Mars.
I don't know if it's sand or it's all stone. Like it's hard.
On top of...
On Mars.
Oh, on Mars. You mean the whole thing's just like hardened stone?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's true. I guess we won't know until somebody goes there. And,
well, they do know based on like the images, but they don't. I don't think they've seen sand dunes. I don't think we've seen sand dunes on Mars.
Okay, so you're saying that movie, The Martian, was fake with their sandstorms?
No. You can have like the debris that's there, but it's not sand dunes. It's not like things would.
Well, irregardless of the sand thing, I'm saying like if you dug up the ground, how do we know there wasn't
maybe
underneath?
You know I'm actually maybe wrong here. There could be, yeah. We don't know.
Right, because like if you just taking like Earth as a case study, just within 1,000 years. It was like a few meters below. Like when we were going, they're like, "Oh, this is the old city," and then you look down, and it's like tons of meters below, and you're like, "Oh,
yeah, true."
This is here.
It's very possible. Like even like when we find old civilizations, we're looking for the foundations that were left behind.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So there could be that could be covered up. Yeah.
Yeah. Could you imagine? Like that would give so much credibility to aliens, bro. Right? All those people who like, I swear I saw this pyramid there. Like I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's they're going to basically where it landed was where they thought there might have been a lake or something, a huge lake.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
So they're at the bottom because it's all barren now. They're at the bottom of that thing.
So if it looks like a giant lake, water breeds life. How do we know that there weren't lakes here before and just got like burnt up?
Yeah.
And isn't like the surface of Mars radioactive or something like that? I heard that somewhere.
I don't know. I have to double check on that, but maybe.
It would be pretty gnarly if there was a civilization and they blew themselves up with like nuclear weapons or something like that. It's totally like hypothetical, not real, but like, could you imagine? That'd be pretty intense. It would make you rethink what we see. You know, I think we're like so obsessed with our moment in time that we don't it's only like archaeologists and like these scientists that look to the past that know that this is possible, that, you know, there could have been life on different planets. Who knows?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, important case for why we should off-world the species, because you never know. Asteroid hits Earth, but you know what's crazy too, though? Panspermia. So they believe that one of the theories is that bacteria could have arrived on Earth on a I don't know, comet or asteroid.
Yeah.
Well, one of those. I still don't know the difference, even though you said it. One more time. Give it to me.
I think it's ice ball and just rock.
Okay, so I'm assuming the rock would have had bacteria, because why would
I don't know?
Maybe
could
ice
be a
ball,
comet.
actually.
We don't know which one hit.
All right, well,
doesn't matter.
Irregardless, so the idea of panspermia is that life originated on Earth through a comet or asteroid that was passing by and just hit us.
You know what that sounds like to me, though?
Interstellar?
No. Oh. When you're saying, like, because the comet has like the debris that's coming behind it, right? Because it's melting the ice or something.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if it was a comet or whatnot, it's hit Earth and then it started life. What that sounds like, I'm just relating it to something that we all know, which is a sperm and an egg.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. That's also the idea of like, well, I mean, if you like look at the name panspermia, it's like
true. It's in the name.
Yeah, it's in the name too. Yeah. So, but it's funny that like we don't. It's weird to me that we blind ourselves with like religious ideologies. We think that like, God or aliens came down and created humans. But what if it was just like basic panspermia? Like that's a very logical conclusion scientifically.
Yeah, but you can, even if that becomes the fact, most likely is, but they can just add like God did that.
Yeah, that's true. You can attach some sort of like, it's like, what was this movie? I was watching a documentary on Moses, and they were saying, like his, do you know stories of Moses?
Not somewhat. Not
so he goes to Egypt to like let my people go.
Oh yeah.
And then God creates like these plagues.
Oh yeah.
And then he splits the sea and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So apparently back in time, but I mean, this is a TV documentary, so it's not hard science. They find that all of these things coincided with natural disasters that happened. So it could have been that it was a natural disaster, but he was like playing it off as like these are God's plagues, Or alternatively, like you were saying, maybe God did work his magic, but it's playing out through physics.
Right.
So it's like there could be a God out there making things happen, and it's playing out through what we call science to make it actually work in the physical realm. Or it's just happening and we're just attaching a narrative to it.
Yeah.
I think the latter makes more sense, but
yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. Like, anyways. But so, which brings us to a very interesting idea, including math and dogma. We watched that movie.
They could have had their own, they could have had their own like climate change issues at that time.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. So like the locusts, it was.
But that happens all the time. Locusts still happen now.
No, exactly. Yeah. But in the Bible, right, he was like, God's going to send these plagues to you, and then like it could have just been.
I feel like they're just stories, because these are some real things that do happen.
Yeah, totally.
Right, but it's just put in a story way that it looks like, all of it's happening at once. I don't think it's all happening at once.
Oh, you mean like it might have taken like when he's like, I'm going to send these plagues, they thought it was like one after the other, but like if you actually go back in time, it was like 1 month later, 2 years later.
Yeah.
They just lumped it all. Yeah, that's true. This is the thing about stories, man. You just never know, because it's always passed down. It wasn't codified at that moment.
No.
It was codified way later. And it's sort of like that thing you were showing me with the Indian tribes, and they had the language that wasn't written down, and it was only passed down orally. Yeah. So there was allegedly there was no rationale behind it, because they were all just making it up or something. Like there's no words. There's no like specific words.
Well, there's no specific words. It may have existed as a language before. Eventually you do end up.
It was the language before codified language.
Yeah.
Or like a systemized language, There was no like the.
It was just sounds, yeah.
Yeah.
It was spoken as sounds.
But which is interesting, because if we talk to like our dog, it's like the same idea. There's no words, but you understand what each like being is saying. Yeah. But so it goes into the movie that we watched as well, The Man Who Knew Infinity. And like, so all right, so we watched Good Will Hunting first, and we were like, then they brought up Ramajan.
Yeah.
So from there, you were like, we were watching it, and like Good Will Hunting. Basically, it's about this math genius who grows up in like a life of being an orphan and poverty and all that stuff. But then in that thing, the person, the mathematician who talks to, who connects with Matt Damon's character, Will Hunting, brings up Ramanujan.
Yeah.
And you were like, oh, that's that movie, The Man Who Knew Infinity. So you watched that movie. So it's like the real life version of Good Will Hunting.
Right.
Yeah. Well, like, minus like, I guess the poverty's still there, but none of the abuse. But yeah, so there are these, there's this guy in history, S. Ramanujan. I don't know his first name.
Srinivas. They said it at the end.
Okay.
When he was getting his fellowship.
Okay. So this person, he's like a math wizard, and he claims that it's gods who are giving him the formulas to the universe.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because, well, my first thought is like, how'd you even know what the formula is, though? How do you know? Because they didn't go into his backstory. They just went straight from like him knowing all this stuff and then getting into Trinity College and stuff. Trinity University?
Yeah. College, I think it's.
Yeah. So where Isaac Newton was from and all these like famous people. But yeah, it's weird that he was attributing it to God, but where did he learn the mathematics? You know what I mean? Like, what was the foundation? They didn't get into that. So it's like, that's like it. And if it really came from God, you wouldn't have any foundation of math, and then you would just be able to write in the same language as the other people, which also makes no sense. So it's like, who's telling the taller lie here? You know what I mean?
Well, I think he's like any gifted person, that he sees the thing, but he can only attribute that to who's giving this gift to him, right?
Right.
He can't explain it himself.
Totally. So I likened it to when I was watching the movie. I was like, I know what you mean. I knew what that guy meant. So like with Photoshop, right? I know how to use Photoshop, but to me, it takes me, like, I can do it really quickly, but I have to wait for the idea to come into my head of what it is I'm going to do.
Right.
You know, I know how to use the tool so well, but I need the inspiration for me to be like, okay, do it like this.
Yeah.
And then I can execute really quickly. So what I'm thinking is, when he said like, it comes to me from God, I can make an analogy of that too. It's like, my inspiration comes from God too, but it's like, but you still know how to use the program.
Yeah.
You still know how to write the fundamentals of math, you know? And in that, it's like, it goes back to the panspermia thing. It's like, and the Moses thing, it's like, what narrative are you writing around your seemingly mystical ability or experience?
Right.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
I mean, yeah, it's fascinating that people exist like that, and that they're still using, I guess, some of his formulas today. So
that's what was so okay. So that was really freaking fascinating, and the way he said it during the speech of his fellowship. So basically, a fellowship is like, so at the time there was a lot of racism between Indians and the British.
Yeah,
so
this is like 1920s.
Yeah. So he goes to Britain because he's such a genius, and then they give him the highest honor, which is a fellowship at the college.
Yeah.
And he also got a royal fellowship too, right?
It was the royal fellowship that he got. That's what he.
But then they made him a fellow as well.
Yeah.
So he got both.
Because I guess so.
Yeah. So anyways, during the fellowship speech, they were saying how, with math. Or you say something?
I don't know if he got the Trinity Fellowship or was.
Remember, he went to the room and then they were like knocking.
Yeah, that was like the officially acknowledging him as the, because I think they use RF or like a Royal Fellowship.
Something because that's the highest one, higher,
I guess,
than that one. Yeah. But so he so during the speech, they were saying how in math, all of the answers are already out there. It's up to us to figure out the formula to prove it.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like what Elon was saying with The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I found really interesting. Because if you read that book, it's like the answer to the meaning of life is 42. And then the people in the book were like, what does that mean? And he's like, you don't know the question. I just gave you the answer. The question's more important than the answer.
Yeah.
Because the answers in the universe are all out there. It's about us asking the right question to fit that to the answer, you know? So it's like, to make a simple analogy, it's sort of like, here's a pen. And you're like, oh, what's this for? And then you're like, later on, oh, I need to write this idea down. Oh, shoot, I have a pen. You know what I mean? It's like, it's already there, but you needed some context for it. I guess that's really what it is. It's just context, you know? Like, you're placing the universe's answers into context that we can understand.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But that mathematics was like so beyond us. We were watching, we're like, what is this? Or it was even not even just beyond, it was so basic. Remember, they were like, how many times the great theorem that he was like working on at the end is like, how many times can this, how many permutations of this thing, right?
That's one of the ones, yeah.
But it was like, basically that formula was just to figure out how many permutations you can make, or like arrangements you could make to create this answer. Right. So like, how many times can you calculate 4 or 5 ways? And then they're like, they counted out something like that. But it was like, who really cares about that? What will that do for me? You know what I mean? Like, I didn't see any value in it.
That's what they use these things for, getting us into Mars. Like, these are all
totally. And that's why I liked with his wife in the beginning. She was like, what does it mean? And he's like, it's sort of like a painting. And then he's like, a painting without colors. And then she's like, so what use is this? And he's like, maybe not for you, but for somebody it'll be useful.
Right.
So it's like, us as watching it, we're like, I have no idea what this is, yo.
Yeah.
You know, but then again, that's what got us to Mars.
Right.
There's these like levels of mathematics. Yeah. You know, they say that math is the language of gods because it's the only thing that doesn't require like language, because I guess it's its own language, but like it's the universal language that we can all understand, like math. Even like they use math, which is so fascinating. They use math to figure out how to translate old scriptures to new scriptures based on like how many times like a word is repeated. They're like, okay, that's sort of like you know what I mean? Like, these code breakers are crazy,
right?
Man.
Yeah,
like,
it's all
how
math.
do you?
It's really comes down to math.
Yeah, right. Like, because we use like the and so many times, so when they see it repeated, they're like, it must be their conjunction word or whatever, their connecting word.
Yeah.
But how do you know? Like, I don't know. I guess it's just like, it's beyond me. So it's like, I don't know what it means. But
even with the code breaking thing, like that started the whole. Was it Imitation Game or something like that?
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, you haven't seen that one?
No, we should watch that one.
Okay, we should watch that then.
Yeah, I want to figure out what like this code, like basically,
because that was the one that's where computers started.
Okay, cool.
It was like the first computer. That's it's called Turing. It's from the guy Turing.
Oh, like Turing test. How do you know the computer's not?
So like basically, it was like they had to.
He came up with that. Like, that was an ancient thing, because I've heard of the Turing test.
Yeah, I think it's Alan Turing.
Whoa!
I think that's him. Who's
so
right. Let me double check.
So he was already thinking about artificial intelligence by the time it was created.
So yeah, what they're trying to do was break the Enigma, the code that the Germans were communicating in.
Yeah. Okay.
But in order to break that code, it's like you need to get, because they change it daily.
Yeah.
The code to unlock that code, right?
Yeah.
But they need to know how do we do all the combinations of the code? We can't do it all in one day. We can't all do it because it's already gone by the next day. They change the code and we have to start again.
Right.
So they had to. The computer was created to run so many calculations, millions of calculations in a second. Right. Like that. That's the idea what computer is doing. So that's how the computer started.
Oh, interesting. Oh, we're gonna watch that movie.
So once they broke that code, Germans did not know that they figured out the code, and they were able to plan out strategic strikes where they can win, where they should lose, in order to win the war.
To confuse the Germans into thinking that they were...
Yeah, but exactly. You can't just save everybody because then they know you figured it out.
Yeah, exactly. So
so once... that's all part of that, and that's how they won the war. There's so many layers to it.
I get you. So two parts to that. The first thing is, so the Turing test is, how do you know that the robot... How do you know if it's a real person or a robot?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Like, you can get to a point where you're not sure if this thing that's speaking back to you is a robot or a human.
Right.
So if he came up with that idea, that concept from the very beginning, that is crazy. Looking it up now.
Yeah. So Alan Turing, he was a mathematician.
All right. So see if Alan Turing.
I just want to see what the movie was called. Imitation Game. Just double. Yeah. Alan Turing Imitation Game.
All right. So check out Alan Turing test. If it's the same guy, that is like some crazy foresight on his part.
Yeah, that comes up as Alan Turing test.
Wow. Okay.
The Turing test, originally called the Imitation Game by Alan Turing in 1950, is a test of a machine's ability to exhibit intelligent behavior equivalent to or indistinguishable from that of a human.
So that is so gnarly, dude. So you came up with, as you were creating computers, you were like, what if we extrapolate this in 100 years and this computer like makes me think that it's real? But we're still using that principle now.
Yeah.
All right. So the second thing is the encryption. So basically what an encryption is like, this is the simplest example. If I scramble all of the words, or like, no. So, okay, I'm going to write like, the boy went to the store. And every time E is there, you replace it with a Y, right? But you won't know that it's a Y is actually an E unless you know the code, right? So if I'm hey man, here's a coded message. You just have to swap out this letter for this letter. So that's basic encryption. That's like the simplest form of encryption.
Exactly, yeah.
Right? But that's what these computers are doing. They're trying to figure out mathematically like what your combination is that you're using to figure out what this answer is. But they do that for our passwords too, eh? So like when you write like a password in your computer, it breaks up that password into like multiple,
it's encrypted.
Yeah, multiple fragments. Well, I'm trying to use a word that like an analogy without using encrypted, because trying to explain encryption. So like your password gets broken up into a million different bits, like data points, and then it knows, if you know what the key is for the encryption, it knows how to put it back together. Right. Which is, it seems so basic. Like, you know what I mean? It's like children were doing coded messages. Like when we were kids, everyone's doing coded messages, right? But to such an advanced level.
That's why they were trying to figure that out. Like they were using sophisticated coded messages. Yeah. The Germans were, the Nazis, and that's what they were trying to figure out through the Enigma.
Yeah, that's cool. I was watching this like cyberpunk documentary thing, and it's fascinating to me how all of these authors, they could see there's like people like what do you call that, precogs. So it's like it's like that movie what's that movie with Tom Cruise?
Minority Report.
Yeah, thanks. So people who can see into the future, and it's almost like these authors are people who can see into the future. Yeah. You know, because a lot of what we spoke about, like the Turing test, they extrapolated so far in the future that we're now at that point, you know? So one of the things that they were showing on these cyberpunk movies is basically social media. So there's one movie, I forgot the name of the movie, but it's super famous. Apparently Eminem like made a parody of it for his music video, Rap God.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyways, I'll show you later about that one. Yeah. So it's pretty crazy. So anyways, basically it was like a reality TV show, and like the person was able to watch their follower count. They were able to speak to their audience directly. So it's basically Twitch.
Okay.
So this was back in like the 70s or something. They were showing Twitch before Twitch was a thing, you know?
Right.
And it makes you wonder, like, did art imitate life, or did this person know where we were going?
Well, I think because I was watching this thing, what they were predicting what would be in 2000 from 1900.
Okay.
And there were like images of things like high flying cars or like
yeah, that's true. We didn't get everything right.
Right. No. But there are a lot of things they do get right. Right. Which was like not needing to have chimneys at homes anymore.
Oh yeah.
Right. Like there were some other things that were like, well, that was spot on. But of course they'll get some things wrong because it's all a guess, right? It's predicting
totally
based on certain things. So it's interesting to see. Yeah, there will be, of course, people that would get some things right of the future.
Ooh, now you're making me think of it like a mentalist. So a mentalist, basically their trick is they get some things right and whatever's wrong, they just disregard. You know, so it's so I'm sitting here like, wow, they're like precogs, but it's like, no, they just threw a bunch of stuff out there and we're attaching to the ones that are actually
no.
correct.
What I'm saying is like maybe that writer hit the spot on, or there could be some things that were off, but like it could be other writers that had the future wrong.
Right. Yeah. It
depends on, like, I don't know if did they all predict, like, was it the same artist that predicted what was going to happen in 2000 from 1900 that time? I don't know that information, but like they were having different images of like flying cars or
but those were wrong though.
Those are wrong. Yeah. But with the houses without not needing chimneys, those things they were correct on, right? I understand what you're saying.
Maybe I'm attaching too heavily on their ability to see into the future is what I'm saying.
But still to have something that you have predicted correctly. You can't 100% have it right all the time.
Maybe art does imitate, or life imitates art then. Mm-hmm. Because they probably read that and they're like, we can make this. Like the iPhones were in Star Trek before iPhones were an idea.
Right, yeah. Yeah, you can, the idea of that, and how do we get to that?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Actually, maybe that is the answer though. Because they probably saw it and they're like, dude, this totally, we can make this.
Yeah.
Because where did you draw the inspiration from?
Mm-hmm.
Art. Yeah. Okay, I changed that opinion. They're not precogs, yeah. These engineers are just inspired by these artists, I think.
Yeah.
So, okay, so speaking of Greenland and like natural disasters and why we need to off-world our species, the Texas thing is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Not even just Texas, but what did they say? It was like 44 states?
Well, but it was mainly Texas. No, they all had the cold thing, the 44 states, but Texas is the one that was the biggest affected because they lost power.
Yeah.
And, all heating was gone, all that kind of stuff.
Which is so scary. And it's funny because, like, Joe Rogan just moved there to Austin, Texas. And, like, because they're like, oh, we're going to escape all the laws or whatever.
The regulations. But that was the things that were...
And then boom, this happens. You're like, ooh, this was not the best choice.
The issue was because of lack of regulations.
Yeah.
They didn't have any reserve power.
Go into
they didn't have... There was a study that was done from a cold that happened in 1980s, I think, and it was a 2011 study that said like we should have reserve power in these sort of scenarios.
Yeah,
winterize their things. That bill never passed, and here it comes. That happens again, and then they're I think one of the only states that their grid line is separate from the rest of America, like, and it's their own. It's their own system, and they didn't have any reserve power. And then tons of people lost. And then they had to do like incremental areas. Okay, well, we have to remove power from this area and give it to this area for a little bit.
Right.
And then, like, that does not sound good.
So basically, if you have like let's say 100% of power, or like let's say you have X amount of power, but it's not enough to power everything.
Yeah.
You have to decide which ones you're going to turn off to give power to.
Right.
And it's like, what is it, like, not rolling blackouts, but like,
I think they call it rolling blackouts.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought a rolling blackout was something else. Like, it's like it just comes.
I think that's what I can't remember. Maybe I'm getting the phrase wrong, but it's something like that. It's like, okay, we'll give this area some time of power, and that area goes blackout, and then we go another area.
Yeah, and then you're saying that they tried to blame wind turbines.
Yeah, it was so funny. It's like, oh, the blame is on wind turbines because it's all frozen. Yeah, but this is Texas. Texas is a gas and oil state.
Yeah.
I don't know if wind turbines would be your main source of energy here.
And you said it was like 13% or something like that?
Yeah. Supposedly it's 13%.
Yeah, see, there's.
But then the regulation, again, it comes back to they should have winterized. That was what they were talking about for these scenarios, but they never passed that bill.
I feel like we're hitting this weird zone of, I mean, every year there's always a problem, right? There's always like some sort of like hurricane or tsunami that like something's like catastrophic, right? But it's weird when you lump them all together in succession. It's very odd. Like COVID and this thing, and then you have like the Capitol riots, and then you have like the BLM stuff. It's like there's so much turbulence in the air right now. You know,
when when no one's at work, right? That's people can then actually focus on the issues that are in front of them.
Yeah, totally. That's great. I was actually with like after we watched that movie, and then I brought Athena for a walk. I was thinking like, that's why I wanted to watch The Road and all these Armageddon movies, because I was like, what would it be like if like we got a very soft Armageddon in COVID,
right? Yeah,
you know, we didn't get like a serious one. I mean, it's still pretty serious, but it could have been way worse, right? So like, and then on top of that, you have Texas. So like Texas is dealing with COVID plus their power outages. It's basically like a Armageddon scenario.
Well, especially now, like because of the people, most people are staying at home or they're working from home.
Yeah,
you need more power.
Yeah, totally.
In a house, so when you lose all that, this is an issue.
Yeah, they all have to especially it's like wintertime too. It's like, what are you gonna do? Yeah. Actually, this is pretty sad. I saw on social media a kid died because he lived in a mobile home, but there was no heating, so she died.
Like hypothermia and stuff. Like that.
Yeah, that's crazy. Remember we had the blackout here during wintertime? No, not that one. We had
which one?
Oh wait, no. Yeah, you were in India. That was the one.
Yeah, I read it on the newspaper.
Yeah, you missed both.
Both?
No. Are you talking about the one where ice storm?
Ice storm.
You missed like all of them. I'm not talking about the summer one. I'm not talking about the summer one. Were you here for the winter one? I think you were. We were in this apartment, but maybe you were in India.
I can't remember.
So, but there was a power outage, and like, my cousins were going to my parents' house to stay because they had no power in their apartment. We saw the power here, but there was like some crazy blackout. But like, there was a bunch of parts of Toronto without power, and it was winter.
Maybe I don't think I was here then.
Okay.
I don't remember this.
Yeah, so that's crazy. It's like, what are you gonna do if there's no? It's different if it's like summer, because like whatever, you know. Yeah. But if it's winter, that's pretty hardcore.
Yeah, the other one, the bigger one. Yeah, I was not here. That was like the whole good parts of America, right?
That one you're talking about was summertime though. That was a long.
So that was.
Yeah, I love how they also made movies later saying that was like an alien crash and like.
Oh, they use it as yeah. So this is how they mean. This is what I mean by like adding these parts, truth to the story with other fiction things onto it to make it more interesting.
To me, totally.
Which is like religion.
Yeah, totally, exactly. Yeah, because reality isn't entertaining enough, apparently. Yeah, but it's weird how when you take away something like power, you realize how dependent we are on energy.
Oh yeah.
You know, like we can't get food, we can't store our food, we can't entertain ourselves, we can't transport ourselves.
Yeah,
it's like you're doing nothing.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to I think I saw an image. I'm not sure how true that one was, but it's like he was technically off the grid because the solar power of his own roof.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And storing that energy
he was cool.
in those Tesla batteries. He's like the only house that was lit up, and the other ones are all like blacked out.
All right, true.
So
yeah, but you have no internet though.
No, you're right. But you still have heating. You have
totally.
You have this other stuff, right?
I remember that blackout, the one that you weren't here for, and we were just listening to the radio. I remember I was like a little kid, and we all slept. Like my dad had to go to work because he was like the manager of the hotel, and like he had to fix, like, because you have guests, right? So you still need to fix things. So my mom and my sister and I, we like slept in the same bed and we were listening to the radio. And like, but it made me think like, oh, dude, this is the end of the world.
Interesting.
You know what I mean? Like, just keep us safe, right? Because like, you didn't know, like, was there going to be looting?
Yeah,
and then on the radio, they were saying like, oh, people were going to grocery stores because they couldn't get their medication, and like Metro, where we in Port Union, they were like opening up, letting people get some stuff because there was no food even.
Yeah, because it was all going to go bad too, right?
Yeah, and that lasted like, was it a week? I don't remember. It was like kind of a while.
Maybe, yeah. I remember we were taking the bus to another place, and then I was reading the newspaper, and then like that was like the first thing I see.
Oh, really?
I was like, a whole blackout here. What happened? I was just showing my dad, like, what happened?
Yeah.
It's like, this is how I got the information.
See, that's crazy, because it's like that was also like a soft Armageddon as well.
Yeah.
You know, like we have these like moments throughout like our lives of mini Armageddon moments,
but I somehow missed them all.
Yeah, I know, totally. Yeah.
I just wasn't here.
But we just hope that a big one doesn't hit, you know? Well, I mean, technically COVID is the big one.
Well, yeah. But we're not as, like, yes, it is not as bad. I mean, I think with the power outage, in the wintertime, that's even worse. So.
Yeah, I know, right? Like if that giant blackout across North America was winter, ooh, like what are you gonna do?
Right.
You know, like start a fire in your own home or something.
Yeah.
To keep yourself safe, you know? But I mean, which is worse, like the weather or like a disease?
Well, the disease is actually, I mean, both can be very detrimental.
I know, right? So it's like, but which way do you want to go out? You know, like no power or, because at least in this we have power. We're just like staying at home.
Right. That's true, but you're also likely to die. Doesn't matter what kind of weather it is, right? So if it was summer when it hit, you're a bit okay.
Or you're talking about the virus?
Like a power
a power outage.
If it was in the summer, it's okay. Like wintertime, you have to deal with that kind of situation, but not
true.
Some people will die. I don't think as many people, as much as a disease could do.
True. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Speaking of which, so I want to bring this up because I thought it was so interesting. On 6buzz, they posted this conservative guy attacking Trudeau.
Okay.
Saying basically he didn't do enough, and like this infinite amount of money will like eventually run out, the $2,000 a month.
Right.
And like, you know, he's like, oh, people are starving right now, and they're worried about their future because they have no job and they're just getting $2,000 a month. And he did this like personal attack to Trudeau. And I was reading all the comments. It was like very interesting. He's like, we all don't have $1 million trust funds like him. Like, obviously, we need to get him out if we want to move forward as a country. That's what the person said. And the comments were so funny. Like, this guy woke up with death on his mind, you know, or like, how are you going to do him dirty like that in front of Parliament? It's so awkward. But like, then I was reading the thing and like all the comments were like, yeah, this infinite money won't last, blah, blah. And then like, you have all these other people like, oh, I'm happy that he gave us the money. And then other people were like, oh, it's doing better in other countries, et cetera, et cetera. And then the only one that I was like, oh, this is the only legitimate one, was the person from America saying like, yeah, you guys are complaining, but it's way worse in America. Like our government just blatantly doesn't care about us, you know?
Right.
They care more about the economy.
Yeah.
But which is true because they are one of the biggest economies, you know? Like they need to keep going or else China or Russia is going to take over.
Yeah. They gave their, when they did their benefit, a bill or plan, whatever it was more for corporations, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally.
It's not for the people.
Plus, they also like let jobs keep going. You know, they didn't. Well, I mean, that was like a Trump administration, though. So
no, I know. Yeah, but it all happened under that thing. Where here it was very quickly to giving people money.
Yeah, people versus the corporations.
Necessarily corporations.
Although they did give corporations a lot of money too. Right?
No, they did that, but that was like the next step. The first step was the serve
our people, yeah,
right, and then you go to those other things. They haven't done anything for airlines though, but they did for airlines and
yeah, totally.
What do you call those? The big boats that people take, cruises.
Yeah,
they did all that in America
because they need to keep their economy strong, right? But
right.
Canada, we're like, it doesn't really matter. Like we're essentially riding on the back of America. So it's sort of like, you do it and we're just going to chill over here.
Right. So yeah, it was just, even a lot of European countries did the same kind of thing, which was people first, then businesses.
I almost can't blame America for what it did, because I get it. You need to maintain your superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or else China and Russia are definitely going to take over.
Yep.
Yeah. But in that, so it came up like, because I was saying like, well, we did a better job managing the virus because there's less people that have died and have contracted it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember Walt was like, yeah, but is that a per capita thing? Like we have less people in America.
Yeah.
Right? Less people than America. So I actually ran the numbers and I was like, so in terms of cases, it's 2% of the population of Canada that has COVID. And in America, it's 8%.
Yeah. So it's a huge difference.
So it has nothing to do with the size.
Yeah.
You know, it is definitely regulation, you know? And then in terms of death, we have a 0.05% mortality rate for this. And in America, it's 0.1. So there's double ours.
Yeah.
So it's like, they're definitely in a worse position. Like everyone arguing that like, oh, in America it's open, and yeah, but their numbers are way worse than ours. So it's like, what do you want? You want economy focus? You want people focus? But people who runs the numbers, right?
Yeah.
So like, I had to run the numbers. And like, maybe my argument's wrong. So running the numbers.
Yeah, no, but per capita wise, it's America. That's why America's on the top. It's not. It's per capita wise. Yeah.
Yeah. So
like Sweden is up there too, per capita wise, compared to their neighboring countries.
Yeah, totally. Well, they just said to hell with it, right? They were going for herd immunity.
Well,
but I get their point. I get why you were supporting them in the beginning, because it's like, is the vaccine going to come?
Yeah.
You know?
They didn't know, and they assumed like this is the best scenario that we have, which was, they did in a sense like told older generations to stay home and stuff like that. But like, there's nothing directly stopping them from coming outside. That they didn't close down, but they did some things, but it wasn't really closed down like the rest.
Social distancing protocols and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, their numbers per capita wise were high.
Yeah, totally.
Because I remember even Trump tweeting about that and saying like we're doing a really good job. Look at what Sweden's doing. They're
doing nothing.
They're just their people are dying, right? Something like that.
Right. Yeah.
So it was already.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, how do you? I'm really curious to see what it's going to be like after this. I'm also not looking forward to that shot, like because I just don't like needles. I mean, not in terms of like it's going to mutate.
Not an anti-vaxxer, just a.
Yeah, just a lot of people have already gotten it. Like my sister, because she's a nurse, she got both doses already.
And she was fine after the second dose.
I mean, she was complaining, but I was like, "You're fine." Like she was okay. I felt a little tired.
Could be placebo.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah. So it's like
because you've heard your friends who got.
Yeah, and they were getting sick, so she's like, "Oh, this is probably it." Blah blah. But like, then the next day she was okay, and like, yeah. She said like her arm hurt, but I mean, like,
well, that's with any
yeah,
exactly.
But I'm thinking about where we'll get it, because they're saying like the Metro Convention Center is getting changed to
to implement
a giant hub for shots. There may be over here next to us, Melasman.
Yeah, we're like, for us age, I think it's going to be a bit later. I don't know, I've heard like maybe in a couple weeks time they're going to start with people 80s and above and then start going down.
Oh, really?
Down like that, yeah.
So
I think they've done at least one dose. I don't know if it's 2 doses for most of the long-term care homes.
Okay.
So their numbers are starting to drop.
Okay, cool.
And so then they'll start age group wise. I think that's the plan here. So.
Okay. Yeah, and if everything goes smoothly, probably September.
Hopefully by September we hit herd immunity. I don't know.
Or we end up getting our shots by September. I mean, like, it seems like, all right, let's say everyone in Canada, like the majority, like let's say we hit herd immunity in Canada. So you have 80% people vaccinated or immune to it, whatever. But then if you look on the global scale, because I was thinking like, well, then there'd be no point in getting the vaccine. But like to travel, you need the vaccine.
Yeah. I think that'll probably be implemented for travel purposes.
Yeah. I see no other way around this other than just getting the vaccine.
Yeah.
Because even the people, see, the crazy part is like even the healthy people, right? Because they talk about like, if you're young, you'll be fine, right? But like Faraz Zahabi getting it, and this other UFC fighter, they're like top shape, right? They're super healthy,
right.
And they're like, yeah, I wasn't really sick, but I have all these lingering breathing issues now. I'm like, oh, dude, that's kind of freaky. Like the top athlete is experiencing breathing issues,
right?
Yeah, or we get razor masks. That could be the other thing too. Like I would definitely, because they were even saying like, because it's not perfect, right? You could still get COVID, so still wash your hands.
Yeah, they still say to wear the masks even after you get a vaccine. It's still
right. So it's like you might as well just get the razor mask. Yeah, but maybe you wouldn't be able to like in store dining if you don't get the shot.
Yeah. They have to figure out a way to implement all that though. Like, how do you check someone has it? Is it just gonna be simple paperwork? Is it an app thing? But then not everyone has a smartphone.
Yeah, no.
So there's a lot of things involved here or it's like I don't know if you get a band or some kind of thing that
you can give that band to someone though.
Right, that's the thing. I don't know. This is the things that they need to. Or like it has to be a passport version, like a thing that says that you your name on it and you got the shots.
So that's what I mean. It's like we're in this totally new stage. It's like this is post Armageddon for us right now. Like it wasn't a really bad Armageddon, like we were saying, because it's just it's like a virus. I mean, it's still pretty bad, but it could have been worse,
Right. Anything. Yeah.
But then coming away with this, it's gonna be like this is gonna be a totally new. I think I'm fully sold. I knew I said it in the beginning, but I was like kind of unsure about like we're entering into a new world. I was kind of. I just feel like now that it's been over a year.
Yeah.
The ramifications post this are gonna be different as well.
Yeah.
Like economically and like all that stuff, like the way we set up our lives, even the fact that it's not 100% cure, some people still be nervous to get it,
Right. Yeah. We'll see how it goes. People do want to go back to normal.
Yeah.
But it's just when.
But do you think this will stretch? Like we're coming up to 1 year anniversary of our lockdown.
Yeah.
But do you think it'll stretch into like maybe 2 years, a year and a half?
I don't think so.
Really, eh?
I don't think so. If the vaccine does its job, I don't think so. I think we should be able to hit herd immunity by this.
No, but my real question
is... come back to normal?
No, when do we get to remove our masks? That's the question.
I don't know, and I don't know if people are going to be really safe enough to want it to also.
That's what I mean. So that's not really normal. We'll still be having like...
Right,
What I mean is like...
to live as we were in 2019.
so what I'm thinking is that time is done.
Right.
Like masks are like the new essential.
I think we have a different view of masks now.
Well, some people also are still.
Well, yeah, that's fine. There's still a minority of a group, but I think that, I think people will wear masks for some time.
Unless the CDC goes like, if you get the shot, no more masks, you're fine.
Maybe, yeah, but they haven't done that yet, so they still say you have to wear masks.
Or what happens if like you just start using the mask as an excuse for like, I don't want to pass the flu, or I don't want to pass like a potential other virus that you know what I mean,
yeah, especially I mean like with the mask we can see also like the huge decline of the flu this year. Yeah,
so maybe it's like beneficial to just
it's beneficial maybe during winter time. Let's all do that.
Yeah, interesting. All right, so final thing, speaking of masks, Mortal Kombat trailer.
Okay.
Because Sub-Zero and Scorpion both wore masks. They knew. They're from Asia. They're like, viruses, bro. We gotta.
True. Yeah. I mean, wasn't it an Asian thing to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
It was big. It's like just politeness, right? So,
right. Yeah.
But anyways, so what do you think of the trailer?
I mean,
I want to watch the first two. I'm like really into it.
Visually, it looks cool, but okay. I don't know. Like there are some. Okay. It didn't like pull me in. It's like I have to see it in full. I will watch the whole movie. I just need to see like just showing me the good parts only.
Yeah, true. I mean, I think the fight scenes are going to be pretty gnarly. Actually, I don't know about the story.
Yeah, but it's good that it's rated R at least. So I mean, that is a Mortal Kombat thing. So
I think maybe the first one was rated R too, actually.
But they didn't do gore.
No, it wasn't.
Like what we know of the new video games of that Mortal Kombat, the level they go through, like the
fatalities.
Yeah, the fatalities, or even like within the fight, there's the bone breaking scenes.
Yeah.
So like those are all
right.
I can see that happening in this sort of thing.
It's more detailed in its gory violence.
Right.
These new ones.
Yeah.
Whereas like the old ones, because there was one scene where there was it was in the first movie. This guy does like a flying kick, and then Sub-Zero freezes him, and then the guy's body shatters, and then the head lands at Sub-Zero's feet.
Right.
So it's like that was pretty gory, but it wasn't real. Like compared to this trailer where he took the guy's blood, froze it into like a knife and stabbed him in the back. I was like, whoa, that's like the video game, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, each of the fatalities. I was reading a little bit about it. Each of the fatalities plays a key moment in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Well, it makes sense though, because it's like that's how Jax lost his arms, right? So I don't know what other fatalities are gonna like trigger other changes in the movie.
It'd still be good to see, something to see. I mean, we need we need.
I feel like the costumes though are a little elaborately over the top. Like that side by side comparison I'm showing you, it's like it looks cooler when they're like more scaled down ninja,
right?
As opposed to like, why are you wearing this crazy heavy armor? You know, and then also the actors don't look as like awesome as the old ones, right? The old ones look like real martial artists. These new ones look like kind of like actors. It's weird.
Yeah,
but I've been a big fan of Mortal Kombat since we were little kids. It's one of the first fighting video games I got into, but it's so clunky, you know.
Yeah.
When you play, it's not like Street Fighter. Street Fighter was like so fast. I liked both Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, but like their gameplay was totally different.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why there's different kinds that exist, right?
Yeah, true. Well, one of the cool parts is
like no one is this level of gore. None of them.
Oh yeah,
none of them.
Totally.
Yeah, that's what Mortal Kombat makes them way different than everybody else.
That's one of their selling points.
Yeah.
But what I like about Mortal Kombat 2 is there's so many Easter eggs in the game. But I mean, I guess you can call them trolls now, because like so Noob, like one small one is Noob Saibot. That's the creator's name backwards.
Oh, really?
It's Tobias Boone.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Interesting, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bunch of like those little things in there, and like
that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So mask up like the wonderful ninjas of Mortal Kombat as we head into a new world of potentially off-worlding. Would you go to Mars?
Would I go to Mars? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it would have to be like super commercial though. Like,
there's no other way I can go other than that, right?
I don't know if I would go to Mars actually.
Okay.
It seems so uncertain.
I'm saying like not the first ones, of course not.
Oh, you mean like if it was like a Dubai?
Like when it's normal, like Total Recall, when they were going to. What was it?
Did they go to Mars? Totally. Yeah, it was like a
normal vacation spot or whatever, something like that.
True, if it was like Dubai, but that's not in our life.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah. Anyways, the future.
But as long as we can do like a flyby of even to the moon or something, that'd be cool.
I'm just worried about the G-forces.
Yeah, they'll just put me to sleep.
And then you wake up and then you've already passed the G-forces and now you're just like this is like in The Fifth Element.
Yeah.
When they're traveling, they just put them all to sleep. I could see that. I could see that happening. Yeah, another case of life imitating art, because they came up with that first in that movie. All right. Anyways, so till next time, stay safe out there.
Yep.
Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.
All right. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors: Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Vish.
Peace.